Okay, so as I have told you, this is once again a cell biology lab experiment, and in today's experiment, as explained to you, we'll be performing cellular fractionation, and in this cellular fractionation, we will show you how to isolate chloroplasts and all that. Chloroplasts, as you all understand, this is one of the organelles, one of the important organelles of the plant cells, which are responsible for the process of photosynthesis, and we understand this forms an intact organelle which is not connected with other organelles at all, and that's why we'll be able to isolate this. Now, as you all understand, as I have explained to you, that cellular fractionation is one of the paramount topic which needs to be understood in detail as far as our cell biology is concerned. Why? Because ultimately you will understand whole of your cell biology revolves around the cellular fractionation. Cellular fractionation, where we understand, and then you can also categorize it into subcellular fractionation. Okay, so cellular fractionation main aim is I have in detail explained to you in a theory as well. So as you understand, in this basically we are interested in fractionating that cell. Especially we are talking of an eukaryotic cell where we have number of organelles, and why we require this cellular fractionation, all of you understand that we might be interested in studying the ultrastructure of these organelles. Okay, and that is what cell biology is all about. Importantly, if we talk of this chloroplast and all that, it's a very important organelle where number of processes are happening independently, right? Like your carbon dioxide assimilation, photosynthesis, photophosphorylation, etc. Okay, so for understanding them, we need to isolate them in pure form. As I have explained to you in cellular fractionation, what we generally do, if you remember that theory lecture where I have explained you that cellular fractionation, so it depends on you have to basically isolate these one by one. You take that. Now, first of all, we understand that you are talking of a eukaryotic cell. It is especially here we'll be taking a plant source. Our source is where the starting material will be using certain plant leaves. As you understand, chloroplasts are predominant in that, and we will be taking healthy plant leaves so that we'll be able to isolate those chloroplasts as intact organelles and all that. Okay, so for that basically what we have to first of all get rid of the cell wall, because we understand in plants you have a cell which is surrounded by a cell wall and all that. So for that you have to use different, as I told you, there are different methods of degrading that cell wall, okay, of removing that cell wall, and those processes should be compatible with the process with that process, so that that organelle remains intact. So in today's experiment, as I told you, there are a lot of procedures. Mostly we depend on, because ultimately you can use number of procedures and all that, but ultimately in every type of lab, in cell biology labs and all that, what you are interested in isolating that in pure form, and then the process should be simple so that it is time saving. It's not that much time consuming and all that. So for most of the cellular fractionations and all that, what we generally use centrifugation. You are all aware with, I have introduced you to the concept of centrifugation, and here basically we use differential centrifugation forces. Differential centrifugation and all that, where you see that, okay, larger particles will settle, it will remain in the supernatant, then one by one and all. And then I told you that it's not that simple. We basically supplement it with some gradients, like number of gradients can be used in the form of sucrose, cesium chloride. Okay, as I have explained to you, velocity centrifugation, yeah, velocity differential centrifugation, or we have also used density gradient centrifugation and all that. So it's a combination. The method which we'll be using, it's a combination of that differential, somehow a density. We are not using a gradient, but we are supplementing this with the help of sucrose. So we understand the organelles will separate as per their size, as as well as their densities, because we understand that number of organelles can merge or they can settle as a common palette. So in order to make that process efficient, we are adding some density, which is some chemical which is in the form of a sucrose here, right? Or it can be, there are a number of other materials available these days, but this time we didn't have the availability of those chemicals. That's why, like percol or ficol, these are used because they provide a very suitable gradient for the isolation of your mitochondria, chloroplast and all that. So for today's lab, we'll be using, we will be doing this. That is a very simple experiment. The bases are very simple, since I have explained this to you in theory as well. So what we'll be taking? We'll be taking those spinach leaves, okay? Because we are interested in isolation of chloroplast. So we are taking those spinach leaves, and in this spinach leaves, we will be doing, so this experiment will basically clear the concept about cellular fractionation, and then how organelles can be isolated from them and all. And then once you have that organelle in hand, you can do n number of things. Today we will be estimating the chlorophyll content as well in that chloroplast preparation, if once we are able to isolate that chloroplast organelle and all that. Okay, so we have the materials required for this experiment are obviously the starting material, that's your leaves. We have taken those leaves and we have cut it into small pieces, square pieces. We have washed them carefully with the help of this tap water. Okay, so this is all these, this is the ice bucket. We are keeping it in ice because you have to maintain those ice cold conditions for keeping these organelles intact. Otherwise, once you open the cell, there are number of degradative enzymes and all that which can degrade number of things in that. That's why we tend to maintain the ice cold conditions. Most of the steps which we will be performing will try to maintain the ice cold conditions and all. Okay, so we will require, this is our a buffer, which is basically a phosphate buffer. Probably you might have prepared in your biochemistry classes. If no, then you understand that yes, we require, this is one of the buffers which is very suitably used in your molecular or in most of your cell biology experiments or biological experiments and all that, and it can maintain your pH. It has a wide range of pH can be because it has a good buffering capacity and all that. So presently we have prepared a phosphate buffer of pH 7.4, 0.1 molar, and this is our 0.5 molar sucrose. Okay. So we don't require much of the reagents here. So these are the leaves, Spanish leaves, which will be required. Some beakers will be required, a homogenizer or a blender, because we need to remove the cell wall. So we are using blender or a homogenizer for degrading that cell wall. Okay, and then getting that extract, which is basically a cellular extract and all that, and then getting rid of those components and all that. We will also apply a process of filtration where debris, cell wall extra can be removed, and you get a somehow a crude filtrate, and from that filtrate we will be using differential centrifugation, which is basically supplemented with the help of that sucrose. Okay, so this is a centrifuge we will be using. Okay, I'll tell you what are the speeds and all that. So for now we have taken already, this is 8 grams of leaves. Okay, spinach leaves. We have cut them into small pieces. I'll be putting them into a beaker. Okay, so I am putting these 8 grams of leaves. These are spinach leaves. You can take lettuce, spinach, other green leafy vegetables and all that. We have basically, yes, one step we have basically taken out the midrib. Okay, because that basically gives a good homogenate after basically crushing it with the help of a homogenizer. So we have taken out the midrib. This is it. Now I'll be adding 40 ml of sucrose. So I'll take a measuring standard, or there is a So I'll be adding a 40 ml. Yes, this is it. This is all ice cold. Now this is what we have done. Simply taken the leaves, okay, added some, taken the leaves, cut it into small pieces, taking out the midrib, I mean to say that is this one, huh? So we have taken these, I guess, so we have done some cutting extra already in order to save on the time. Now I'll be keeping it in the ice, and we will basically try to homogenize it for breaking down the cell wall with the help of a homogenizer. So we have taken the beaker containing those spinach leaves. Okay, so we'll be doing, we have basically, this is basically our sample. This is the sample. Okay, so we are basically keeping it in another beaker for providing those conditions so that it remains ice cold. Okay, and then this is our homogenizer. I'll just, this is the probe which will be dipping in this beaker. Okay, and this will, with the help of those physical forces and all, this will help in the disruption of the cells so that we get a homogeneous paste. Huh? The idea is to break down the cell wall of those spinach cells and all. So this is, I'll just clean a bit. Okay, so I have placed it, the probe inside the beaker which contains our sample. So this is the homogenizer. Okay, now I'll switch on. So we are giving it basically in the form of pulses, huh? So that to avoid the generation of heat and all. Otherwise, if the sample gets heated, it will basically denature those organelles and all, because we require intact organelles as well. So we are giving it basically, these are called as cycles, huh? These are pulses, which basically we are giving it for a pulse of say 10 to 15 seconds. We are then keeping it as such for 15 to 20 seconds. That's a break of 15 to 20 seconds and all, and then doing it again. So in 3, 4, 5 cycles and all that, you will get a complete homogenate and all. That's it. So we will now take out our sample. This is our sample. See, this is now a homogeneous sample. Okay, so after that we will try to filter this, as I told you. So we'll clean this. I'll just try to find out a wash bottle. So I'll wash it completely. because care of the equipments is very important. Okay, so this is, it should be cleaned. Okay, ये हमारा ही है. So this is our sample now. What we have to do next will be basically filtering this through muslin cloth. As I told you, the experiment, one of the important precautions is we need to maintain the cold conditions. For that, we have kept the muslin cloth in the refrigerator so that to keep it cool. Okay, so we have already cut it. Cheesecloth you might have seen in your home, in your kitchens. Okay, so we have just cut it and kept this in this silver foil. So this is the muslin cloth which we have cut. So I'm taking a clean beaker. Okay, so we will try to I have kept the muslin cloth and now we can filter it out. So that the sample, the filtrate gets rid of the debris and all other components, cell debris, cell wall. So this is as you understand the process of filtration. So this is our retained tea, that is which cannot pass through this muslin cloth, and this is our filtrate. Just a minute. So now this is what we have obtained after the process of filtration, similar as we do it in our homes. So I'll keep it here. So this is our. Now what will we do? Basically we will be we'll be centrifuging it. Okay, and we will first centrifuge it. We'll be using 2 speeds. So we'll be using a 200 G and then we will be using a 1000 G. That is 200 G is basically your 200 G will be your low speed and followed by the high speed. Okay, so that, and then basically when you do it at the low speed, some high molecular weight organelles will settle down, they will form a pallet. Okay, and then we will have our filtrate, and in this filtrate we will have our these organelles including our chloroplast and all. So I'll be taking we will divide this into, because for a centrifuge, this is the centrifuge, and if you want to centrifuge your sample, that is this filtrate, so it's not possible to keep this beaker inside. Okay, so we require some, we can show you. Oh, sorry. This is the centrifuge. Okay, so these are the, this is the centrifuge, right? So this is the lid, this is the rotor. So this is the lid, so this is the rotor, and your tubes will be adjusted here, in those, depending on which tubes you are using and all that. Accordingly you can use. Many a times you may require the use of these adapters, etc. Okay, so like I have one of the centrifuge tubes here. It's like this same type we'll be using. Okay, you can place it in this adapter like this. You can show them here. So this is an centrifuge, and we know that it is basically you can set that RPM, and that is you are basically centrifuging it at those speeds. But here we are not using very high speeds, we are using different speeds and all that, depending on what you want to achieve in that centrifuge. You have a temperature, this is called as a refrigerator centrifuge. We can have all the options. First step, we are doing it at 200 G. Okay, so we can set it accordingly. So this is our RPM and RCM, very important parameter. So this is basically, so I am doing it for RCF, that's called as relative centrifugal force. इसका है भी 200 G तक. So I am doing it. So this is 200 RCF, temperature we have kept it 4 degrees centigrade, and time we will be setting it for 5 minutes. Okay, so this is the time, and we will do it for just for 5 minutes we require. Oh sorry, this is 5 minutes. Okay, so everything is ready. I'll take out the tubes. We have it inside the refrigerator. So these are the tubes. So we'll put this, we can put it in one tube also. I'll put it in one only. Okay, other one we can use, because inside this is our fillet rate. Okay, but inside the centrifuge we need to balance, right? So for balancing, you can take out any tube, fill it with water. So I have taken another tube filled with the water, so that will balance both of them. We have already placed these adapters, and I'll be centrifuging the sample. Putting the lid. So this is the centrifuge. Okay, so now you just have to start. Okay, it has now started. So the centrifugation process is complete. Okay, so we did it for at 2000 G. We did it for 5 minutes. We can now open it, take out our tube, just open the centrifuge lid. Okay. This is our sample. I'll see whether it has. This is our sample. Okay. We'll basically collect the supernatant. Actually, after centrifugation, there will be two fractions. One in the form of a pallet, another in the you will see a very small pallet, because larger bodies can centrifuge out at 200 G and all that. Okay, so we'll take out the supernatant carefully. See, this is the pallet. Okay, so these are some larger bodies and all that, and this is the fraction which contains the supernatant. This is the supernatant or the fraction which contains our chloroplast as well. Chloroplast, mitochondria. Okay. Now what will we do? We will do same differential centrifugation problem. We will again centrifuge this. Now we will be doing it for 7 minutes and speed will be different. Okay, so I'll again set the RCF. We will set it at 1000 G. पीछे करो थोड़ा. This is 1000. Okay, time we just have to increase it to 7 minutes. Okay, temperature is okay. We will start it again. Let the process complete, and after 7 minutes we will take our sample again. Then again, as you understand, this is centrifugation, so what will happen, we'll get two fractions. One fraction is your soluble fraction, that's the supernatant, okay, and one is the pallet. Okay, now in this step our pallet contains the chloroplast. Okay, so we are interested in isolating the pallet. Okay, and the soluble fraction contains your mitochondria, other things as well. So that pallet will dissolve it in some suitable buffer like your phosphate buffer, and this is the fraction which contains our chloroplast, and we will go for further estimation of chlorophyll. Or if you want a purified preparation, we can do repeated centrifugations with the help of your Percol if it's available there and all, and then only we can get a pure preparation of the chloroplasts. So our centrifugation process is complete. We will just open it. This is our sample. See, we have a clearly visible pallet. This pallet contains our chloroplast. Okay, but we will have to remove the supernatant. That soluble fraction contains your just keeping the pallet side towards you, carefully drain away the supernatant. Okay, done. So this is the supernatant, that is a soluble fraction which we were not able to pallet it down. Tissue paper, just a minute. Yes. Okay, now we will add some buffer. Okay, since this is a palette, okay, and we need to we need to dissolve it in something, huh? And that is basically, we will first add 2 ml of our phosphate buffer. So I am taking the pipette. I have already shown you how to set the pipette. So I have set it at 1000 microliters, which means 1 ml. I am taking the phosphate buffer. This is 0.1 molar phosphate buffer. So this is 1, this is 2. We will try to first suspend this, okay. This is gentle tapping. This is very thick, so we need to adjust it, okay. So I am adding more, otherwise I have made it soluble in this 2 ml also, but I'll add some more buffer. We'll make it up to 8 ml. 2 I have already added. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it is up to 8 ml because palette will also increase the volume, no? So we have made it up to 8 ml. So this is our chloroplast. This is our chloroplast fraction. It's not that much pure fraction. For purity we need to separate it through some gradient and all that. Okay. For that you can use that Percol and all. Okay. So presently this is a crude fraction of the chloroplast and all that. If you require some detailed analysis and all that, for that we may need to separate it further. Okay. But for our experiment we will take this as a chloroplast fraction and calculate the amount of chlorophyll and all. So this is basically our, I'll mark it, chloroplast fraction of our spinach leaves. We have already used it. Okay, so I'll keep it in ice. Now we will have to go for estimation of chlorophyll. Okay, so for that I'll be taking estimation of chlorophyll simple. We will also try to look into the microscope on this fraction. We will take this.
अपने आप स्टॉक हो गया.
So I am taking these EPIs. These are called as Eppendorf tubes. They can also be centrifuge inside the centrifuge because it depends on the volume. Okay. So when you are working with large volumes, you cannot use them. When you are using volumes up to 1 ml or 2 ml, you can use these tubes. These are called as Eppendorf tubes. Okay. So I am taking 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. So first I will just take 990. So I'm taking 990 microliter of 80% acetone. In acetone it is basically soluble because it should not make precipitates, and we are basically taking out the OD. We are taking the readings in the spectrophotometer, so that will give you an absorbance. I have already told you the principle of the spectrophotometer. So I am taking 990 microliter of 80% acetone. We have already prepared it for you people, and I will be taking 10 microliter of this chloroplast suspension. Okay? So this is a chloroplast suspension. I will be taking 10 microliter. Okay. I will be taking 10 microliters of the chloroplast suspension. So this is my chloroplast suspension. So I have dissolved it. Again I will have to change the rotor. So these are this is sample I have prepared. Okay, taken 10 microliter of this chloroplast suspension in 990 microliters of acetone. As our cuvette volume is up to 1 ml, so I have increased it. Okay, I have taken 20 microliters of your chloroplast suspension in 990 plus 990 is your, in order to make it your 1880 microliters of your not 1880, but making it a total of 2 ml. Okay, so this is our sample. We will centrifuge it for just 2 minutes at 3000 G. This is the centrifuge again. This is the speed RCF. Okay, so I'll set this to 3000. Not 3000, 300. Okay, and then time is 2 minutes only. 2 minutes. Okay, so temperature is 14 already. We'll just open it. So this is the suspension. Okay, this is just for balancing. Oh, this is only. Okay, so speed is basically, sorry, it is basically 3000, not 300. So I have kept the sample. Okay, so we'll centrifuge it, close the lid, do it for 2 minutes. So this has started. So in the meantime, what we'll be doing, we will be taking a slide Slides. Slide. Okay, I'm taking this chloroplast suspension. So we'll put a drop of the suspension on the slide, cover it with the hanging, just cover it with cover slip and observe it in the microscope. You will get an enriched So I have taken a drop of this chloroplast suspension. We will simply put a cover slip and observe it under the microscope. So this is preparation, okay. Observe the, it's on. I don't know whether we are able to capture it for you, but we are seeing the presence of chloroplast, although I told you it may be contaminated with other organelles as well, but yes, it is it's a crude preparation of the chloroplast. Those green structures, okay. Okay, then our step is complete. So we'll be taking our samples. We'll be taking our samples from the centrifuge. Okay, this was, I hope you remember, this was the sample. I have taken the chloroplast suspension, mixed it with acetone, okay, and acetone basically provides the solubility, okay, and then we will be taking the readings. Why I have centrifuged? Because there might be some insoluble precipitates and all that. In order to avoid that, because that can give you a false absorbance at in the spectrophotometer. So that's why, in order to make it clear, so I hope you are able to see small palette like thing and all. So that was the main purpose of this centrifugation. Now we'll prepare our sample for the estimation of chlorophyll content. Okay, so this is our sample. I'll be taking, this is our water basically. So I'll be taking okay, we will now prepare our samples for spectrophotometric estimation. This is the 80% acetone, so this will serve as a blank. We have to take 2 blanks here also, so these are our 2 blanks. Simply 80% acetone, minus the chloroplast suspension, that's our blank, simple. So this is our blank, this is our blank. Similarly, we will prepare our sample. We will simply, we don't have to prepare now, we simply have to take it out from this, very carefully. This is 1. So this is our Now we'll take the readings, the spectrophotometer. So this is our blank sample. We'll simply read this out. Now we have already set the spectrophotometer and we'll be taking the readings. So these are our samples. This is the spectrophotometer. We have already set it. Okay. So what are we doing? We are basically have to take the absorbance, optical density, absorbance, and we have set the wavelength. This is the wavelength. We have set it at 650 nanometers. Okay. And inside the spectrophotometer, you understand these are our cuvettes. These are the quartz cuvettes, highly expensive cuvettes. You need to handle them very carefully, because they are fragile as well, since they are of quartz. So first important thing inside the spectrophotometer is the setting of the blank. Okay, so I am putting my sample inside the cuvette. So this is one blank, another blank, this is the blank. Okay, so you have an basically a source of light which will pass it, and ultimately it's being captured, and ultimately you get basically what I have explained you with the help of a Beer-Lambert law. You get those absorbance and all that. Now since this is basically a blank, so blank means basically you are telling the spectrophotometer, please minus those readings, so this is a base basically and all. So I will do auto zero. So in different equipments, in different instruments, you will find that setting up of a blank, so it will come at as directly blank. Okay, यहाँ पे we call it as an auto zero. Please read this as 0. Okay, so we are doing that auto zero. So this will set whatever it is in 80% acetone, what you have used as a solvent. Okay, so that it will take it as 0. Okay, so now we will take out our one of the blanks. This is called as a double beam spectrophotometer. Okay, so basically in order to improve the accuracy of the equipments and all that, this is an advanced version of earlier spectrophotometers and all that, where we have a provision for double blanks. Okay, we keep it as a reference, just reminding the spectrophotometer every time that you have to treat it as a 0. Okay, so I am taking only one cuvette out. Okay, I'll remove this sample. Now I will add my sample. I have just marked this as sample 1. Okay, so I'll add this, put this inside the cuvette, and we will try to read it again. And you have to be just so I am writing chloroplast 1. Okay, so it is giving 0.104. Read unknown. So it is 0.104. So it is 0.104. Okay. Now again we will take this out. So now you can basically, we are taking it as a duplicates, है ना? You understand in spectrophotometry, in such type of experiments, it is better to take out the average. So for that you need to take a number of samples. Okay, like it can be triplicates also, it can be duplicates. To be more appropriate, it's always triplicates. Then we have taken here as a duplicate sample. Matlab everything is same. Okay, only thing is 2 times we are taking it. So this is a sample, then I have simply marked it as S2. So again I am putting it inside the spectrophotometer. So we will try to read this. Okay. So it will be chloroplast 2. Okay, so read unknown, let's see. Okay, it's 0.142, slightly more, but doesn't matter, we'll be taking an average. But see, this is the basically importance of taking it as duplicates or triplicates. That basically takes care of all the errors inside the experiment. Okay, so statistically you will have to do it in triplicates. Matlab average, you have a concept of average and all that. So this completes our experiment here. And again, putting these values, I will be telling you the equation where you will put it these values inside that. We have certain constants and all. You will be putting in that, like a dilution factor, molar extinction coefficient of your chloroplast and all that, and you will be able to get the chlorophyll content. Okay, chlorophyll content in milligrams and all that. Okay, so this is all about the chloroplast isolation and all.